going on, YouTube? Let's do another unboxing video. Once again, Bulk Reef Supply order. Um, as a matter of fact, I like Bulk Reef Supply for multiple reasons, but I don't know if I mentioned this, but the last video or the last time I made an order from them, I tried to order 25 feet of airline tubing, and they actually called me because they only had 24 foot of airline tubing. Now, mind you, it's only 15 cents a foot. So, and I never even would have measured the tubing whenever it come in, but they actually took the time to call me and refund me 15 cents, even though I told them not to refund me the money. So as far as I'm concerned, props to Bulk Reef Supply, and they got a customer for life from me. Um, they did not have to do that, but as you can see here, I have some GFO, read mixed reviews on GFO. Decided I'd go ahead and try it out. You can probably assume what the GFO is going to go in, but we'll wait till we get to that part. Of course, we need the MJ1200, so we need the pump, and we got one more box in here that I'm probably going to struggle with getting it out, since I need to follow CJ's Aquarium's advice and get that tripod for my phone. Right now I'm holding the phone and trying to get the box out of the box, so bear with me a moment here as I struggle. But yeah, if you are on the fence about ordering from Bulk Reef Supply, I highly recommend them. Once again, it was 15 cents. And I haven't spent a lot of money with them. A lot of the equipment that I bought, as I stated before, has been used equipment. So for them to take a couple minutes out of their day to not only call me over 15 cents, but to refund me 15 cents says a lot. So like I said, they got a customer for life in me. So this is what we got. This is what the GFO is going to go in, and also some carbon. So basically, I'm running carbon in a mesh bag right now, and it's just I want to get it out of the mesh bag. It's messy or whatever. I've tried it out for a couple weeks now and really didn't care too much for it. The mini reactor was, after taking my measurements or whatever, it would be perfect for my little bitty stand. And it's, like I said before, it's amazing how much equipment you can really fit in such a small stand. Um, and this thing with the pump is $65, something like that. But it comes with that price comes with the MJ 1200 pump. What I might end up doing at some point is I might tee off my return and run um, the return line up to the tank, and also tee it off to run to the reactor. I haven't made my mind up yet. Right now, I am using the MJ 1200, and it's not on the sitting on the bottom of the sump, but it is it is a little loud. It's probably the loudest piece of equipment on the entire system. Um, but as you can see, I'm struggling here, but it does fit inside the cabinet perfect, and I'll need to be able to get it in and out of there in order to add the media to it, so that I can, number one, take the media out of the canister, and then number two, whenever you put media in this canister, it needs to be flushed out, and you definitely don't want to flush this out inside of your system. It'll create all kinds of problems. I don't think I put this on the video, but another thing that I did do was my sump, the the bottom of the sump is getting super dirty, and I'd originally pulled the filter sock out of the sump, but I've put it back in there to try to minimize the amount of stuff, to minimize the amount of crap, basically, excuse me, that I have floating in the sump and at the bottom of the sump, which will prolong my skimmer maintenance. It'll definitely prolong the MJ 1200 maintenance, and it'll prolong the return pump maintenance. Um, so what I'm trying to do is keep up on my maintenance, but at the same time, be smart about what's going on, and try to make everything as easy as possible. And as you can see here, I got the reactor mounted on the wall, so it's super easy to get in and out of there. All I need to do now is cut the tubing that it come with, and measure it, and make sure that I got everything that I need. And once again, here's a plug for the little Dirty Santa screwdriver that I got. The little, I think it's called a hammer or something. I don't know, but especially in this little bitty cabinet where I can't get, I have a regular drill and then I have an impact drill. This little screwdriver is awesome. With one hand you can maneuver tightening the screw or loosening the screw or whatever, but it might be a little crooked, but all in all, it's going to work for me. So here's the instructions. It's pretty straightforward. A quarter cup of GFO, a half cup of carbon. Unscrew the canister clearly, then you put the sponge on top of it. What you need to do then is hook everything up, hook up the pump, and then flush it out. What I failed to do at this point was I failed to um, uh, show you me measuring the stuff out and putting it in the reactor. But this is what I've mixed it in. I mixed it in a plastic cup, and you can see how dirty that plastic cup was. And that was just from mixing it. That wasn't even flushing it out. But here I have it actually running, and it comes with this valve so that you can reduce the flow. And give me some feedback. I don't know if I should actually run that out line into the return chamber. Right now I have it pulling water and then returning water from the skimmer section. Um, and I've read mixed reviews about actually putting the output into the return chamber, which at this point it's no big deal because the return chamber is right behind the skimmer section anyway. Um, the other thing is I need to really figure out how to get this skimmer dialed in. It's very very finicky. It seems like I can get it to do a pretty good skimmate, but then the cup will overflow. So I need to really um, get that going. And just an update. I'm almost caught up with exactly where the tank is today on my YouTube videos. Um, Anybody that creates YouTube content, some of us um, don't do live up to date content. So my tank is actually further along in real life than it is on the YouTube videos. So I just wanted to give just a disclaimer there that if you follow me on Twitter or I have an Instagram account, you'll see pictures of kind of where the tank is. Um, Shout out to 915 Mang. He hooked me up with some Cheeto. I've been looking all over for this stuff, and ultimately, any place that I found that had it, they wanted to charge ridiculous amounts of shipping for this stuff. He put it in a priority mailbox, double bagged it, put the Cheeto in a paper towel or whatever, and he shipped it just priority mail from Texas, and he shipped it out on a Sunday. Um, and also, before I get to it, film cut. Here it was some gel film for taking pictures in the tank. So shout out to him again because he threw that in as an extra. Um, but he shipped it out on a Sunday or Monday. I received it in Kentucky on Thursday, and the stuff is still super green from being in a box for that long. So I just I haven't had it in my system very long, so I can't really say on the growth of it from the Cree LED bulb. But it come in green, and it stayed in that box for 4 days, 5 days, something like that. So it's a testament of how hardy this stuff is, and you can see how big the clump is compared to the Milwaukee. And that's a pretty big device there. It's pretty big and bulky, and that's a syringe or whatever. It's a 5 ml syringe. Um, but it's green and it's been in a box with no light or anything for like I said 4 or 5 days now, and I don't have anything to tumble it in my sump. So what I'm doing is just every day or so I'm just flipping it around. So you can see my wonderful installation method there. Just drop it in the sump and hope for the best. And once again, you can see the heater, how dirty it is, and that was because I was not running a filter sock. um, and I'll probably take at some point that piece of rock that's in the sump, which is now live. I'll probably take it out, but I'm on top of my testing. It's probably going to look a little skewed here or whatever, but the ammonia is at 0. I do my test. I test salinity at least a couple times a day, at least once a day. Usually I test it in the morning and in the evening. The nitrite, it's once again kind of skewed here, but it's 0. But even with the auto top off, I check my salinity. I know that I should have a lot more faith in the auto top off. Nitrate's sitting at maybe 2, maybe. But I don't. I refuse to trust that auto top off, so I'm constantly checking the salinity. And there are a couple times where I've had to add fresh water to the system just to keep the salinity in check. And I usually like to keep it at 2.5, 2.6, somewhere around there. It fluctuates between those two. And actually, if you do some research, there's some people that have ran their systems successfully, full reefs at like 2.8, 2.9, 3.0. Um, there's you can, and I also checked the pH. It was like 7.8, something like that. Which, from what I've read, the pH, as long as it's stable, it doesn't matter what the number is. And I can't remember exactly what the alkalinity was, but I'm pretty sure that it was like 7 or 8. So don't shoot me if that's way too low or whatever. But what I do on the system is a 5-gallon water change every week. This week I'll probably do a 10-gallon. But for those of you that are new, this is how I make my water. It's a Spectra Pure 90-gallon manual flush system. Um, this thing will make RO water, RODI water, and it'll make dechlorinated water. So if I wanted to make water for my freshwater tank and not have to use dechlorinator, I could use that Rodi unit, but I don't. I use Prime. So in the laundry room, in the cabinet, I have all of my items that I use on a regular basis, and it's just been a complete nightmare in there for a long time. And I'm needed to go through there and sort out what I have and kind of maybe get rid of some of the things I don't need anymore. Um, Shout out to anybody that's on Reef to Reef, their forums. I'm a I'm a frequent visitor of their forums, and I buy, like I said, a lot of the equipment off of Reef to Reef. And you can buy equipment, you can buy livestock, you can get anything, course information. So I have actually two API freshwater test kits, and CJ made the comment with the Mile High Reefer and the Rotter Tube the other day. Can't remember their names, but he mentioned that whenever he had a freshwater tank, it was an autopilot tank, and that's basically what my freshwater tank is. I cannot tell you the last time I've tested the water in it, but I've not added any fish to the system for over a year and a half. So the Mbuna that are in that system are the freshwater fish that have been in that system for a year and a half, plus or minus a couple months. Um, I don't use the freshwater test kit at all. The Red Sea test kit I use a couple times a week. I definitely test the nitrates more often than anything else, and I always keep a bottle of this ammonia on hand in case I need to do a cycle on a tank. Um, it's just Dr. Tim's ammonia. I'm a huge advocate for their ammonia. And then here we have some calibration fluid for the Milwaukee. And I'll probably get a lot of grief about this stuff being in the same cabinet as some other chemicals. There's some dusting stuff in there and some laundry stuff in there. Um, it's been in there for a long time. I've had no issues with it, so it's just where I keep my aquarium stuff. It keeps it out of the way of everybody else in the house. And Velcro, I'm a huge advocate for the Velcro. It's easy to remove. Um, Here's some calibration fluid, which it'll test. It'll verify that the refractometer is at 2.5. So then you have the calibration fluid to zero it out, which you can zero it out with RO water, and then you have the calibration fluid to verify that it is getting 2.5 on the reading. And I don't use that very often. I use the RO water, and I've tested it enough that I know how accurate it is. I bought these measuring cups off Amazon, so I got the half a cup in my salt bucket, and I use the other ones for various other tasks. Um, Instruction manuals, I keep instruction manuals for about everything. Um, and then this is that film again that 915 Main hooked me up with for pictures. Um, I got some frag cutters, so the bone cutters or whatever. Haven't used them yet, but made an order from Bulk Reef Supply at one point and knew that I was going to need them at some point, so I just went ahead and got them. I made some extra labels for my cabinet and the cabling in there. Everything's labeled, so I know where everything is at. And in the event that I'm not home, I can tell my wife, "Hey, it says this. Flip this off," and she'd be good to go. Super glue for frags. Once again, I haven't done any fragging, but what you want to look for is this. I'm going to murder this word. This cyanocrylate or whatever, however you pronounce that, is what kind of gel or excuse me, super glue you're going to want to glue frags. I haven't used it yet, but that's what I've read, so I'm going to go by what people have said. So correct me if I'm wrong. This is a pH meter that my dad got me a couple years ago. Haven't used it in a long time, so it probably needs to be calibrated. Um, but as long as the pH is stable, it shouldn't really cause any ill effect to the tank. As long as it stays at a stable setting, you don't want it fluctuating. Um, the adapter there is for the reactor, and then I also have adapter for my Rody unit. Um, and these are just various instruction manuals for the Rody, the media reactor, and a couple other pieces of equipment that I have. I just keep them handy, especially for the Rody, in case I have to refer back to it for whatever reason. Um, and I don't make very much water. I make a couple gallons a week or whatever. But this is the carbon and the GFO that I'm using inside of the reactor. And last but not least, here's a screen clip of the 915 Main YouTube channel. For sure, give him check his channel out, and you might as well subscribe to it because he's got some nice stuff. Thanks again, 915. I really do appreciate all the help that you give